There are worries over the growing number of dilapidated buildings in Gqeberha, which have become havens for illegal activities. This once again highlighting urban decay across most of South Africa's established areas. Newzroom Afrika's Sipha Kema joins us live from the Nelson Mandela Bay capital. A very good morning to you once again, Sipha. Well, what are the residents who live in these areas? Because one can imagine it is not safe for many of them. Needless to say, they are not getting value for their money.
Well, that is true, Vuyo. And I mean, when we're talking about some of these residents, we're talking about people that have been staying here for years and decades, people who are reluctant to move because this is their home. This is the apartments or the property that they bought years ago before this area started deteriorating here in Central, and before there were these dilapidated buildings around the central part of Gqeberha. We're going to talk now to one of those residents who's been living in Central for 17 years, Hofni Mostert. Hofni, thank you so much for talking to us about, and also sharing your experience on what you've been through here in Central. I think let's first start with what exactly, what have you been through living here? Are you safe living here?
No, you're not safe here. We used to be safe, but with the ladies of the night and the pumps and all that, you're not safe. I've been robbed 3 times, and you're not safe here.
And tell us about those robberies. I mean, you told us just before we went on camera, went live, you were telling me about those robberies, and it happened in broad daylight whilst you were walking.
Yeah, the first time was up in Ring Street. I walked down Ring Street, and five people surrounded me, and the one took out a pistol and he held against my head, and he said to me, "Where's your cell phone?" But I had my cell phone in my pocket, and I just walked and I waited for something to happen, but nothing happened. I just walked away, and when I looked back, they were all gone.
And what happened the third time?
The second time was across the road here at the shop. 3 people, 2 were outside and 1 inside. And they robbed me so quickly, they took my cell phone. But it was so quickly.
Let's talk about you mentioning ladies of the night here and they pimps. Where do they live around these blocks? Was the building nearby?
Well, the building across the road here, they stay there. They stay next to us. Not right next to us, but the block next to that. And they're staying all over here. And
it's a problem.
Yeah,
so what are you hoping as people who live here or residents here, what are you hoping would happen? What should be done about these buildings that are becoming problematic? I mean, your safety as well.
Well, you can't do nothing to it. I mean, they can do nothing. You can't even lock them up. Because
have you complained before? Has there anyone written to the municipality?
Yes, yes, we did quite a lot, but nothing happened. We complained with the police, nothing happened.
Well, Vuyo, you can hear from Hofni telling us here his experience of living here in Central, living for 17 years, saying that, before it was rather safe, but now when those buildings started deteriorating and housing vagrants, and some of these buildings here in the CBD have been hijacked. These are the ones that he was referring to, saying they're housing ladies of the night and the pimps are also living in various blocks around Central. This is actually the reason why we're actually doing this crossing here and not on the streets, because we also need to keep safe. So that's how bad things have gotten in the inner city. And you can imagine Wolfney is an elderly person, and there are plenty elderly people living within this property. And also he's using a crutch to walk after his motorbike accident. He can't fully walk. Imagine, his safety. He can't fight back. So we're going to be talking to the municipality as well, Vuyo, because we do have some questions for them regarding these bylaws and implementing these bylaws, and not just that, but also what exactly is happening to these buildings. And of course, you mentioned earlier on the person who's, pointing the finger at mostly, and we're going to be discussing that as well, and what actually happened to that plan to revitalize the inner city and to actually demolish most of those buildings that are considered hazardous or unsafe to live in. But also, what is the way forward regarding those that have been identified as heritage buildings?
Sipha Kema there in Gqeberha. So of course, she continues with that focus. As she just told us, she will be speaking to the municipal authorities there to find out what it is that they are doing about the crisis in that part of the city.